What's up, guys? Cassandra Carson here from Paralandra and the Life Project, and you're listening to the Weekly Pour podcast.
Hey guys, it's Leva Leone, and you're listening to the Weekly Pour. Great metalheads, crazy music, because we all bleed metal. Ciao.
Hola, amigos. This is Billy Sheehan. You're listening to me right here and watching on the Weekly Pour podcast. Thank you.
Hey guys, this is John Karabi from, just about every band but ABBA, and you are listening to the Weekly Pour podcast. Turn it up.
I'm Logan, right?
Yes.
That's how all right, I'll go now. What's up, everybody? It's Logan from All the Pretty Things, and you're listening to TBT and Ace on the Weekly Pour podcast.
My name's Reggie, and you are listening to the Weekly Pour podcast. Thanks so much for joining the most amazing twosome out there.
It's time once again for the Weekly Pour, the show that knows everything about absolutely nothing. Here are your hosts, TBT and Ace.
What is up? It is Wednesday. I don't know today's date. Don't really care. It is me. It is TBT. That guy over there, that is Ace. Once again, you are trying to outdo me, and you have a whole new background again.
I do. There's a lot of wind today where we're at.
Yes.
And our internet was kind of wonky for a little bit. So
wonky.
I thought I need to move from the primary studio to a place where I can have more reliable connectivity. So I came up here. I created a studio in the bunker.
The bunker. Okay. So I didn't know that you actually went to the bunker for this.
I did. This was originally for nuclear fallout.
Right. For those that didn't know, Ace is a, what do you call those? A prepper?
Yeah, I'm a prepper.
Yeah, he's a prepper. So he had a nuclear fallout shelter, which apparently gets better Wi-Fi than your house.
It does.
That's phenomenal. I got late breaking news. This was nothing that we had planned. This just came across my phone. I just got a text from Lil TBT. Everybody remembers her from, the little spirit box that could. She just reported, now hang on here. I'll get to you in a second. So just don't go nowhere. Everybody hit that thumbs up. There's like 6 of you in there and only 2 of them have hit the thumbs up. And one of them's me. So I'm taking mine back. And now, somebody just took theirs back too, and now it's at 0. All right, you little ass clowns. Anyway, let me get to this. My daughter just, and I want anybody in the chat to speak up, with the exception of my wife, who's probably in there, and she's going to have a shit whenever I do this. My daughter just said she pulled her groin. Okay.
Pulled it where?
That was what I said. She's a girl. Can a girl pull her groin?
She did.
Like, did a doctor say that she did that? Or did she just say that? So my response in the chat, this is a family chat between my wife, my kids, and me. I responded, "You're a girl," and she laughed at it. Okay, then I figured it wasn't true. And then my wife says, "You can still pull your groin, TBT," even though she calls me by my real name. What? Anyway, she says, and my daughter says, "Not bad, but definitely pulled." Okay. Chat. The only person that said anything is my wife, and she doesn't count. So Natalie just chimed in and said yes. I'm waiting for Kathy and Shannon because they are. Damn it! Shannon just jumped in too. Yes, she can. How does a girl pull her groin?
Wait, are they medical experts? Are they doctors?
Kathy just said the same thing. Are any of you doctors?
Mother doesn't count.
Yeah, it's the muscles in the groin area. Well, okay. Oh, so another friend of ours just popped in and said yes, and she is also a female. And then Kathy said she is a doctor, and I'm not talking about Dr. I knew she would say that. She said Doctor of Love. So Okay. Then we'll go back to a regularly scheduled program. This was just breaking news. I did not understand about being able to pull a groin.
I just started my
So
period.
what?
So there.
Yeah, Ace just started his period. So there you go. All right. Anyway, let me go to the chat. Who's in the chat? Our norms are in the chat. Natalie, of course, our moderator. Shannon's in. Kathy, Natalie. I already said that once. Another Natalie, Kathy, and I'm pretty sure I said that again. Shannon's got this whole big O thing. Pain in the female groin area most commonly results from straining, pulling, or tearing a groin muscle or ligament. This is especially common if you're athletic or do a lot of daily physical labor. Learn something
I
new every day.
I wouldn't know because my oldest daughter is made out of rubber, and she's one of those that can do the splits, front, side, backwards, bend herself in a loop. She never pulled anything.
Well, Shannon, thank you for Googling it because I didn't. And that was pretty good. We've got a lot of wind, which you just mentioned a while ago. And I can hear this. I got a window over here over my right shoulder, and I'm pretty sure that one of my vehicles just blew away.
It probably did. You have one of those very small, like hybrid cars, don't you? Out
Yes, an electric car.
there, right?
I'm
Put it in your pocket.
pretty sure it just blew away. I don't know. Anyway, as you guys can see, we don't have a guest this week. We've been busy with work and all that. We are still working on a couple others that are that we're working on. A lot of good feedback from last week's episode with all the pretty things. That was a fun episode. If you haven't watched it,
Well,
I don't know what you're waiting on, but you need to go do it because it was a good time. I was going to ask the chat something. I don't remember what it was because of my daughter. She just completely ruined it. So anyway, a little bit of news going on this week. I know you and I were discussing some things that were going on in the world of music. Natalie said he was a great interview. Yes, absolutely. And if anybody listened, we have a new intro where, of course, we've used our last few guests. And Logan, of course, was on there. And so far, his is the absolute best because he's the only one that questioned who he really was. And I appreciate that because that sounds like us almost daily of
yeah,
who we actually are. Um,
I'm Ace. Maybe.
I'm TBT.
Let me tell you. Uh, Speaking of last week, let me tell
Uh-huh.
you real quick about the Alter Bridge concert.
Oh, yes.
So, as you revealed, I did the podcast from the backseat of my car.
Yeah, not the first time you've been back there.
No, no, no. And
Very good.
so I missed most of Wolfgang Van Halen when we got into the venue. Although I caught about two songs,
Okay.
but what I was hearing was fantastic. Wolfgang is very talented. Uh, my daughter was with me. She said he was amazing the whole time. A mutual friend of ours was there.
Yes.
He talked quite a bit about how well that band sounded. So good for Wolfie. Glad he's on that tour. But also, uh, they came out and they really, really put on a show. They're the real deal. You know, I knew that Miles Kennedy could sing, despite what some people in the chat may say.
Right,
Uh,
Kathy.
I knew that he was a guitar player. I did not know that he was probably as good a lead guitar player as Mark Tremonti.
See, and that blows my mind because I mean, you know how much I love Tremonti, and I've talked him up like crazy, just based on everything we hear. But I didn't really know. I thought you might have caught some aroma sitting next to you somewhere at the concert that made you think this, some residual.
No, everyone was on their best behavior.
Well,
I think
I'm surprised, and now I will give you your props for saying that then, because I
they
would have
would they
never
would
expected to hear that.
they would trade leads on certain songs, and then blend them and weave them together and that sort of thing on certain songs. And man, it was
Outstanding.
amazing. how well both of them were. And
Wow.
Tremonti sang a song, did pretty well. Of course, he sings on his solo work anyway. So, you weren't just treated to a standard, this guy sings, this guy plays guitar. I mean, you got some little unexpected treats, I would say. The set list was good. You kind of have to know Alter Bridge. They get into the deep tracks a little bit.
Okay, good.
I told my wife how fantastic the show was, but she would hate it because she would have known 3 songs.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. There's a story she shared with me. She saw Bryan Adams on his in the Heat of the Night tour right after Reckless in I believe Lake Placid, New York. Now she's in high school. She's excited to go see Bryan Adams. She's got a friend with her, and she is sitting on her hands the whole time because Bryan is playing the new album. And he's playing. I looked it up. I found it on Setlist FM. I found the set list. He played like 7 songs from that new record. So if you went to go see Bryan Adams back then and hear all the Reckless hits, you weren't getting all of them.
Wow.
So, yeah. So she always tells me how she didn't enjoy the Bryan Adams concert because it always blew me away. But she's like, Brett, Ace.
Whoever the hell you are.
That's what she calls me.
When she's pissed off at you.
Right. That's my proper name. Got to understand, I didn't know any of the songs. And so me knowing Alter Bridge was fine because I know those songs. But if you didn't know their catalog, it's a little dicey here and there. But overall, good show.
Good. So Lou just stepped in. I want to welcome Lou into the chat. And speaking of Lou, he sent me a message. Let's see, on the 18th, so just a few days ago. And he was just thanks for waking him up to the Winery Dogs. He said he's heading next month with a few musicians to check them out live. Lou, I think you're going to absolutely love it. But I'm very happy to have turned you on to the Winery Dogs. You're going to enjoy that show for sure.
Where's he seeing them?
Don't ask me that because I don't know. I can't pronounce that word. I don't know. I'll ask him. He'll speak up in the chat. So Ace, did you speaking of Bryan Adams, did you play a Bryan Adams song at your wedding?
I did.
Really? So did Natalie.
Oh,
I just want to know which one of you guys played Summer of '69.
Not us.
No? Okay.
No. I was married in 1995, so you know what song was at my wedding.
Absolutely.
Everything I do for you.
Yeah.
Now we mutually picked that. Actually, my wife picked it, and I agreed because I wanted "Forever" by Kiss.
Right.
And no, that was next. Was next. But the Bryan Adams song is a better wedding song, I guess, for us.
I would have picked "Community Property" from Steel Panther.
Anyway,
Lou said Grand Rapids is where he's going to go see the Winery Dogs.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
So that'll be a good show up north to go see, as long as they're thawed out by then.
They were just in New York City.
Yes.
Kicking ass and taking names. You'll love it, Lou. You'll love it.
Natalie said they played "Always Be Right There" was their Bryan Adams song.
You're right there.
Right there. Not over there.
No, right there.
Right there. Right there. Speaking of Steel Panther, that was a good segue.
I knew that's where you were heading.
Well, I really wasn't, but I decided to since I already kind of mentioned them. Steel Panther's new album hits the store shelves on Friday, and it is called On the Prowl. We've had a few tracks released already. I'm going to go ahead and apologize to my mother now, who I learned listens to every podcast, or in this case is probably watching live. Mom, I think the refrigerator is running. You should go check it real quick.
She watches because you never visit.
I do every weekend. Damn. Anyway, On the Prowl is released from Steel Panther Friday the 24th And Kathy even says, by the way, who's excited about the Steel Panther this week? Kathy, I am, and I am very disappointed that I missed out on your signed copies that you have coming in. For whatever reason, I did not see that post, or I would have been one of the first ones to jump in and get one. Anyway, this is a 13-track album coming out, 47 minutes long. So you figure 47 minutes, 13 tracks divided by math. So we're talking about 3 and 4 minute tracks. Let's go through the track list, you say. Okay. So the first track, which has already been released, is Never Too Late to Get Some Pussy Tonight. That is your number 1 track. Followed by Friends with Benefits, which was released just last week for your listening pleasure. Third track is titled On Your Instagram. I can only imagine what that's about. The fourth is Put My Money Where Your Mouth Is. Interesting. The fifth track, and so far my absolute favorite song that they've put out in a very long time, 1987. If you've not heard that and you are our age, please go listen to 1987. It's outstanding. The sixth track is Teleporter. Number 7 is My Dick Enough? Featuring Dweezil Zappa. Number 8, To Follow Is My Dick Enough? Number 8 is Magical Vagina. Number 9 is All That and More. Number 10, One Pump Chump. I'm pretty sure that's about gas stations. Number 11, the 11th track is Porn Star. 12 is Ain't Dead Yet. And 13 is going to be the oh-so classic Sleeping on a Rollaway. So there you go. 13 tracks, 47 minutes, new Steel Panther, February 24th. That's just 2 days away. The name of it is On the Prowl. Get it while you can get it. And then get it afterwards because you'll always be able to get it in the digital world. So,
that title. Get it while you can get it.
Right. And now the chat is everybody's okay. Natalie,
you need to tell Logan to use that like you did last week.
Right.
Give
yeah, but that's
tidbit.
that's from somebody else. This is mine. My Halo thing. Kathy says we all have magical vaginas. Okay. All right. So I'm going to pose this question to you. This is from the McFarland thing in our chat. She wants to know, how do we feel about the GNR 2023 tour announcement?
Right. They just announced it.
Right.
We just saw that.
You and I were talking about that right before we went on air. What are your thoughts?
I think GNR has not stopped since they reformed. And I wonder if they're going to be freshening that up, that set list. Matter of fact, Slash, in an interview not a couple weeks ago, said that they were really surprised because they were rehearsing with Axl. That's what they do. And they were trying to think of stuff to come up with. And he turns to Duff and Slash and asks them to play something from Velvet Revolver, which was a shocker. And they're like, really? You want to do that? And so that's kind of cool, that they might be open to shaking that set list up a little bit.
It'll be interesting. I was going through looking at the tours. It looks like they're going to start June 5th, actually over in Israel, and continue across Europe through July 22nd, wrapping up in Athens, Greece. They will then flip over to North America starting on Saturday, August 5th in Canada. And then they're going to visit historic venues across the country, such as Fenway Park in Boston, Wrigley Field in Chicago. The tour will conclude in British Columbia on October 16th. Looking at this will be the first time the group has toured together. Let me try that again. This will be the first time the group has toured North America since the Monumental War F and Back tour in 2021. Their now legendary Not in This Lifetime tour from 2016 to 2019 stands out as the third highest grossing tour of all time. Now, looking at the dates, I mean, they're all over Europe: Denmark, Norway, UK, Germany, Switzerland, Italy, Netherlands, France.
Budapest, Hungary. You
Yeah,
don't see those. You
Hungary.
don't see those places often, do you?
No,
In your schedules, Budapest,
I don't think so.
Bucharest.
Athens, Greece, Olympic Stadium. That'll be pretty cool. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if they record that one. So you see a lot of artists do that, especially when they go to the Olympic Stadium there in Greece.
Yeah.
Once they hit North America, I mean, they're hitting some large places. Closest to us is going to be Rupp Arena in Lexington, Kentucky, but no Indianapolis shows.
Well, it's the same old story. Um, and I can't remember if we talked to Billy Sheehan about that or not, but I wanted to. Like
We
why?
mentioned it, and I don't remember if we mentioned it on air or off.
Right. Why? I get confused sometimes, but why is it so hard to come to Indianapolis? I mean, they hit close.
I don't know if it's
Louisville.
necessarily hard to hit Indianapolis or if it's just Indianapolis being lazy and not saying, "Hey, we want these guys," or just not forking over the cash to book them
Yeah, it
and
could be.
say, "Hey, we'll here's the 15 grand, 20 grand, 70 grand, whatever it is. You're going to get that money back." Anything coming to Indianapolis as big as Guns N' Roses is going to sell out, number one. They're probably going to get a portion of profits from memorabilia, I would assume. So I don't know. I mean,
Well,
yeah,
and
from
it makes me sound
Chicago to Nashville and Lexington, Kentucky, but nothing here in Indy.
right. It makes me sound like a cranky old guy, but I don't always want to drive 2 hours, to go see something, occasionally. But I mean, Lexington's a little bit of a haul for us,
Yeah, absolutely.
and Nashville, that's about 5 hours. And of course, make a day of it, whatever. Make 2 days of it, whatever. But
Yeah.
I don't always want to go to Nashville to see acts, and I just wonder why it's like that. We do better during the shed season.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, we do a lot better during the shed season. But some of the stuff in the winter we just don't get, probably because we don't want to give up room for the Pacers. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. Because how many championships have they won? Anyway, so expanding on this whole thing with the Guns N' Roses, NASCAR fans were, I'm sure, excited to see that the number 43 Guns N' Roses car was in
Which I didn't know. I didn't know we had one.
I don't either. The driver is Eric Jones. Again, the number 43 Guns N' Roses car, Guns N' Roses sponsored car. It was involved in a multi-car wreck. Apparently, it spun its way to the stairway of heaven after sliding out on some night train, something
a
like
little,
that.
little too much night train.
Yeah, it was just a whole big Chinese democracy. I don't know what happened, but yeah, he didn't finish the race.
Who convinced GNR to sponsor a car?
I don't know, but I can tell you that Monday after the race, Guns N' Roses singer Axl Rose took to his Twitter and wrote, "The race was exciting. Congratulations to Ricky Stenhouse Jr." I guess that's the guy that won.
Okay.
Natalie just kind of hit this on the head talking when we were talking about the concerts. She said Indy wants the sports. I can't argue with it. However, Indy does not have an NHL team. What gives?
Well, they've got minor league hockey. They have that.
At the fairgrounds.
Well, they have the NBA team, the NFL team. We are probably going to have an MLS team shortly because they're getting ready to build a stadium for that.
5 years, it'll be defunct.
Well, I mean, they're playing right now, the Indy 11. I mean, that's speculation on my part, but I do know they're getting ready to build one.
Yeah, didn't Louisville just build one, right?
Right. So
for what are they? The Louisville Sphincters or something?
No, I don't. River rats or something, but she has a point, and I believe she's right. They would rather pull in the sports money. The NCAA tournament is always up there.
Yeah, that's exactly what she just said. NCAA stuff, Big Ten stuff.
Right. It's always, oh, well, don't forget the combine.
Yeah.
NFL combine. That eats up space.
Yeah, and that's worked out great for the Colts.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Hey, we're on a roll. We got a coach now.
Not just that. We're flipping the script here. The Colts just got themselves a brand new offensive coordinator. And if this
Yeah,
offensive
oh my
coordinator,
gosh, the best name in football.
the best name in football,
The
the
best name in
absolute
football.
best name to have
And
if you're going to be a Colt.
why is he not driving the GNR car in NASCAR? That's what I want to know.
Exactly. Do
Tell
you
me.
know the name or do I get to say it?
No, you say it.
Okay. This is like, I mean, everybody knows, but think football, think Indiana, think the Colts. Who better to run your offense than Jim Bob Cooter?
Jim Bob Cooter.
Jim Bob Cooter driving the number 43 NASCAR Guns N' Roses car. Jim Bob Cooter. See,
Pedal to the metal.
there
Yeah.
are so many different ways to go with Jim Bob Cooter. Batting fifth from third base, Jim Bob Cooter. See, baseball.
Yeah. He could have his own section. In the Lucas Oil Stadium, his own section.
What would you call it?
Like the Cooter Clan or something.
Cooterville.
Cooterville.
Yeah. That's what I'm going to buy tickets. I'm going to buy tickets and I'm going to set up a sign and it's going to say, "Welcome to Cooterville." I'm afraid to look at the chat right now, just FYI.
I think his name belies the fact that he's actually really, really, really good at his job too.
Yeah. I mean,
but congratulations on him for embracing the name.
Absolutely.
Like he could have went with call me James. My name is James Cooter.
Yes.
My name is James William.
Right.
Or Robert. James Robert.
Right. I'm James Robert Cooter.
No.
No, you're not. You, sir, are Jim Bob Cooter.
You are Jim Bob Cooter.
Yeah. And if I think he I don't know his history, but I know he was with the Detroit Lions for a while.
Right. He was with the Colts prior to that.
Yeah, as like some like graduate assistant or something, but I want to say he was with the Panthers at one point.
Maybe, yeah.
See, because I'm sorry, but Jim Bob Cooter and North Carolina kind of go together too.
Well, he's from Tennessee.
All right. That's
Seriously.
enough.
Yeah,
That's
he's
it.
from Tennessee. Yeah, he went to Fayetteville, Tennessee, Lincoln High School.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. It was Jacksonville. It was not Carolina.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and that's one of the things they were talking about when they talk about these coaches. They were talking about he's worked with Trevor Lawrence. Jared Goff played really well under him.
Yeah.
It goes hand in hand with the head coach that we've got now, who's worked with Phillip Rivers and the Justin Herbert that they've got out there now in San Diego. Well, not San Diego, Los Angeles. These guys work with quarterbacks, and they're pretty darn good quarterbacks, so that's who we want. So hopefully we'll draft a really good quarterback.
You know what his real name is?
No, I didn't look. Don't ruin it.
James Robert Cooter.
Yes, that's what we said. He's James
Robert. No, I know, but that's what I'm saying. He could have went by that, but he said, "Nope, I'm Jim Bob.
I'm Jim Bob.
I'm Jim Bob." Oh, wait. Where's the emphasis go? I'm Jim Bob, or is I'm Jim Bob?
Jim Bob.
Or Jim Bob Cooter.
I just don't know how he didn't get into NASCAR.
I don't either.
Can we get him on the show and ask him?
Jim Bob?
I would like to get him.
Write that down. We'll get Jim Bob. He does have he's got a brother, Jack Cooter.
Jack Bill?
Jack off Cooter.
Yeah,
what? His parents are Lance and Ellen Cooter. And he went to the University of Tennessee, so I pretty much hate him.
So he also was with the Eagles as a consultant. He knows the coach we have now, Steichen?
I don't know who it is this week.
Steichen. So these guys all know each other, is what I'm getting at.
Right.
And we keep stealing from Philly for some reason.
Yeah. Oh, is he married? I need to know his wife's name.
I'm
Doesn't
hoping it's
say.
some very southern. What if
Yeah.
he coon? Does he coon hunt?
Cooter the Coon Hunter?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it would be great if he was a coon hunter. And he's got like a bunch of coon hounds.
Yeah. Cooter's Coons.
That's right.
Yeah. He reminds me of Dukes of Hazzard.
You know, in the off season, when he's not watching film and breaking down the draft, he coon hunts.
Yeah. Hey, where's
And
Cooter? Coon hunting.
he's out there. He's out there coon hunting.
He's coon hunting. Oh my gosh. He has a sister apparently. Her name is Joanna.
Joanna Cooter?
Yeah. That came from the
Joanna
chat.
Cooter?
That wasn't mine. That was that came from the chat. But it's still funny. Still funny. Where were we? Oh yeah, we were talking about the Guns N' Roses car.
Right.
That wrecked and with Jim Bob Cooter driving it. And oh yeah, to finish that tweet from Axl Rose, Eric Jones was doing great. Sucked he got taken out. Was great to be a part of such a huge historic event. All the best to the Legacy Motor Club going forward. Thank you and everyone at NASCAR for letting us be a part of your world. This isn't the first time a rock band's appeared sponsored by NASCAR, though. We've had Kiss, Three Doors Down, Green Day, Nickelback, Dave Matthews Band. No. They said rock bands, so we'll back that up.
Right.
Yeah. I guess it's like, military being, sponsors for race cars. That was big back in the early 90s, or maybe not early 90s, late 90s, back, when NASCAR was popular. More popular, I should say.
You made me think of something.
Offend anybody, because, we have had Toby Wedgwood on one of our first few shows, and he's, as far as I know, still the social media. What's that?
He was at Daytona this weekend, wasn't
he? Yes, with Chase Briscoe. He's still on that team, so that's good. I'm glad he's not been fired, because then we'd have to have him on the show again to find out why he was fired.
Right. Why were you fired?
Right. I'm pretty sure he would tell us.
So,
yeah. So in the past, you and I have made our thoughts known on who should tour with who, and one of the things that we talked about was back when we had the Motley Crue, Poison, and Def Leppard tour, and they had Joan Jett opening up, and you and I were throwing a bunch of things around, and I think one of the things you threw out there was how badass it would have been if Rat would have been a part of this tour.
Right.
And lo and behold,
they would have fit right in.
If Stephen Pearcy himself, Mr. Rat, didn't just come out with a statement the other day that said Rat would have been perfect for the stadium tour with Motley Crue and Def Leppard. It's almost like Stephen Pearcy's been watching the show.
It feels that way.
It does. And I don't know if you read that article.
I haven't, but I think he's been wanting to say this for a while because I think it bothers him that Rat couldn't avoid their dysfunction long enough to get to something like that. Like, they just can't.
Yeah, his words, he said it was a no-brainer. It's called good business. But unfortunately, in their scenario, Rat, as far as the band goes, Stephen Pearcy's not in control of some of the other guys' lives and what they want to do. They've been there and done that. It's not even a financial thing. There's always pluses and minuses to the crime, and the crime could be putting us out there and not having it work. But I put it out there, Stephen Pearcy did, so let's put the nail in the coffin right now. That would have been awesome.
Well, you could have, let's say Poison couldn't do it.
Sure.
Let's say that.
Okay.
Now you Rat right into that slot. and they've got enough songs. They were huge. It wasn't just Round and Round. They had what, 4 solid records right in there.
Oh,
So
yeah.
They would have fit right in. Uh, Even let's say Joan Jett didn't do it.
And I think that would have been a better fit.
Yeah, let's admit Joan Jett, as great as Joan is, that was an odd fit. It's Joan, Poison, Def Leppard, GNR.
Yeah, and that's not taking anything away from Joan Jett because she's magnificent.
Not at all. Not at all. But what if you had Rat, then Poison, and then Def Leppard?
Yeah. Exactly.
It would have been phenomenal. But I think that's what he would have liked to have gotten to that point and been available for something like that, because they just broke up again. What, a year and a half ago, something like that.
Yeah.
And they just can't. They've not been the same since Robin Crosby passed.
Oh, easily.
Almost like he was kind of the glue keeping that band together. Almost, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Piercy and bassist Juan Croucier are the sole remaining original members in Rat's current lineup, which made its live debut July 2018. Joining them are drummer Pete Holmes from Black and Blue and guitarist Jordan Riff from Razor and Frankie Lindia.
Does it mention that in there? Because I thought Piercy was touring solo at this point.
Piercy will release a new collection of music, Legacy, later this year. According to him, the set will include never-before-heard Rat songs, solo tracks, re-recordings, and new versions of previously released tunes. Blah, blah, blah.
I love stuff like that.
Oh, absolutely. Doesn't make any mention, at least what I saw, about him currently being on tour or going on tour anytime soon, but doesn't mean it's not going to happen. They just didn't touch on it.
I think he did I want to say he did one of the cruises recently, maybe a Kiss cruise or something recently.
Yeah, yeah, I know what you're talking about. There was another one that was just like a week or two ago.
It wasn't long, and it was just him. And I think that's where he's at right now, because he can go out with no drama and play Rat songs and do what he wants and just move on to the next show or do nothing. It's hard. It's hard to keep a band together, and it's hard to keep a band together that has issues, Dawkins, for a sustained amount of time, no matter what. We talked about how they got together, Dawkins, long enough, and I make a joke all the time about the Japanese conglomerate throwing a lot of money at them. But that's what happened. They managed to get over themselves long enough to do 3 shows in Japan and make a bunch of money. And then what happened last summer? George Lynch toured with Don Dokken.
And guess what?
It was good.
Yeah. A little bit of money.
Yeah, a little bit.
Speaking of money and putting things out there, Bret Michaels, and I don't understand this. I'm gonna preface this with, I'm a Poison fan. I have been since 1986, 87, right around there. So let me find this. Poison released their first greatest hits compilation as well as a superb MTV Unplugged release. Michaels decided to revisit and reimagine some of Poison's biggest songs with a little help from his friends. The result was Show Me Your Hits, a salute to Poison, which was released in 2001 and embraced by the Poison fan base and still lovingly supported the band even in the face of cataclysmic changes in the music world since the band's heyday. All right. Being a Poison fan, being a fan of that time, because, some people don't like the hairband term.
No.
Exactly. So this album is getting a complete makeover for a deluxe reissue. In other words, Bret Michaels is reissuing, if you will, his Salute to Poison album. I don't get this.
Well, he's remastering it because that was in demand, I guess. We're remastering it, remixing some of the songs, and it's being pressed for vinyl for the first time, limited edition, purple and
Okay.
black.
That's great. I still don't get it.
I don't either. Why? Why? I need to know some background, because why, if you're Bret Michaels, are you doing a tribute to a band you're already in?
That seems, dare I say, egotistical.
It feels that way. I don't like to say that because maybe I don't know everything about what this is about, but
Right. Kathy said that she's excited for the record and she's got so many pre-orders already. I don't doubt it. I'm
oh, that's great.
sure I will get it too, probably. But I don't understand. That would be like, and I don't know, maybe there's been other bands that have done it. I get greatest hits albums. I get it. Everybody does a greatest hits. Even Warrant, Skid Row, they've all done these greatest hits. But to reissue a salute to your own band that you're a part of, that you
Feels like a vanity
created.
project.
Yeah.
Feels like a vanity project.
I
The
could see
set,
Kiss doing this simply for the money and for, just to do it, but I don't get it.
except Gene would do a Kiss, a tribute to Gene Simmons.
Right. And Kiss would do a tribute to Gene Simmons.
Right. The track listing is interesting for this, only because he has Stand on there.
Yeah.
From Native Tongue, the Richie Kotzen record that we talked about with Billy briefly. And then a track number 10 is So Tell Me Why.
Yep.
That was an unreleased track on their live record. That was the bonus track when the live record came out. When was that? 92, 93, somewhere in there.
Yeah, on 91. That was Swallow This Live.
That one. I find that interesting. He's putting that on there. It's a good song. There's a lot of songs that are unreleased that are good songs, but
I love that song.
Yeah, it's not a hit by any
No,
means.
it wasn't a hit. I don't think it was a hit until 90. Well, I mean, it wasn't even really a hit then, but 96, it was remastered and put back out on Poisoned. That was with a D, Poisoned, with
Right.
the skull wearing the top hat.
Yeah.
That album. And I heard that and I was like, damn. I was like, that's pretty good. I liked it better on that album than I did the live one. It was very good. And of course, since then, it's been on their greatest hits. It's been on the box set. It's been in Double Dose. So yeah, and it was the B side of Unskinny Bop.
Have we ever had like unreleased tracks found for Poison? I think that would be interesting to have. Someone breaks into the vault and puts out a bunch of stuff we've never heard. That would be cool. Like
I
what
agree.
Pierce talked about with Rat. The problem is a lot of these bands, if they get 10 songs, they got 10 songs. If they got
Right.
12, they got 12. And they don't always have a lot of leftovers.
Yeah, the for the first time ever, the album's being pressed on glorious vinyl, special edition, like you said, purple and black splatter design. Track listing is nothing nothing new really, nothing but a good time, fallen angel, every rose, look what the cat dragged in, talk dirty to me, something to believe in, I want action, unskinny bop, stand, so tell me why, and doing as I seen on my TV.
And that was on the later albums as
right.
well.
And you know what? When I get it, I'll crank the speakers up and I will jam it, because I'll skip track number 3, and I'll skip track number 6. That would be skipping every rose and skipping something to believe in. Just because I'm tired of those, but all the others, nothing but a good time. Fallen Angel, yeah, they're gonna get blasted. Stand, Unskinny Bop, which was a great song, and then when you actually told people what it meant, then they were like, "Oh, the video sucked."
There's
But
better songs
there's
on that.
absolutely, but for a kick-ass freaking rock and roll party song, it was right there, in my opinion, with Nothing But a Good Time, Fallen Angel, Talk Dirty to Me, and Unskinny Bop.
Yes, it's right in line with those. You're right.
Well, it's catchy.
Right below what you're reading, the track listing, it states that Brett will hit the road in July for his Party Gross tour with Night Ranger and Jefferson Starship,
Yeah,
which I find that an odd mix, but all right. Uh, with appearances from Steve O'Gerry, used to sing for Journey,
Journey.
and Mark McGrath of Sugar Ray.
He's still alive.
He is.
Well,
Uh,
plus a nightly surprise guest.
right. We don't know who. Could be
No,
anyone.
right. He was
But
just he was close to us. What, a week or two ago?
was he?
Yeah, over in French Lick.
Oh, okay. I
And
didn't know.
yes, French Lick is actually a place in Indiana. French
It's a real
Lick,
place.
Indiana. It's the home of Larry Bird,
It is.
or birthplace of Larry Bird. I don't think he really lives there anymore. Kathy said publicity scheme, maybe. Yeah,
Uh,
maybe.
maybe get some. I mean, if you're not putting out a solo record of new music, and Poison is virtually inactive outside of what they did with the stadium tour,
Right.
you might as well put something out. And you and I both know that Brett Michaels runs the show in that band. I mean, it wouldn't matter if CC and Ricky Rocket and Bobby Dahl wanted to do anything; it wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
Uh, you know,
Now
at least we're not getting another.
I follow Ricky on YouTube. And he's always doing different things. And his latest thing right now is talking about he's just switched companies for his drum kits and all this fun stuff. But I haven't seen him say anything about being back on tour. And we've mentioned this probably 5 or 6 episodes ago. I personally think they should have ate up a tour this year after the success that they had on the stadium tour, because
Right.
everybody said Poison blew everybody
Right.
else away.
Poison was the best of the night every night.
Yeah.
Every night.
How can
And
is
how
Brett's
can you
ego
not
getting in the way?
excuse me?
Is Brett's ego getting in the way to stop this tour from happening?
I hate to say that, but it feels that way. It feels like he's much more comfortable going out on his own and, again, doing his own thing and running the show, not being tied down to having to do everything those guys want to do.
Right. Now, we could be completely wrong. This is in no way, shape, or form, trash talking Brett, but maybe CC doesn't want to go out because, he's got his kid's a drummer, and, maybe I was good for the stadium tour, but I don't want to go out next year. Cool. Maybe it's Ricky. Maybe it's Bobby.
Right.
Who knows? But,
Right.
this is one of those things where I would really like to know why they didn't grab a hold of that freaking burning fire
Mhm.
and ride the lightning all the way through this summer.
Right. They could have done exactly what they're doing with Night Ranger.
Right.
Or something like that. Grab Rat if you could. But yeah, you're right. Why didn't you take the bull by the horns and take that momentum and do a run of shows in the summer?
I'm going to reach out to Ricky and see if we
would
can't
have
get
been
him on the show.
that would be great.
Yeah, because I want to ask him why aren't you guys touring?
Right. Again, it's nothing. I mean, Brett's the constant. He wants to tour. He wants to play music. He still wants to do all those things. As you said, the other guys may not want to as much. That happens. I mean, that's a grind, man. It's a grind.
Absolutely. That's why we're not going on tour this summer, because it is such a grind.
Right. And
yeah.
I don't want to beat all my fans off.
Oh, did you say you beat your fans off?
I said I didn't want to.
Okay.
Do you?
I don't beat my fans off.
I'm talking about my fans, not yours.
I don't beat your fans off either. That's so weird. In other news, Metallica's Saint Anger has made the rankings of horrible albums by brilliant artists.
Are we going there again with Saint Anger?
Well, we didn't. Somebody else did. Rolling Stone, of all, of course. Kathy said somebody's got to beat them off. Golly. All right, I'm moving on with this one. Rolling Stones, new list of 50 genuinely horrible albums by brilliant artists. They did this back in 2003, and it was what's called a scathing summary of shit that was released. It mentioned Saint Anger, and of course the snare drum, because, well, in addition to James' addiction issues, Jason Newsted leaving, the snare drum. It sits at number 43 on the ranking that also includes efforts by rock and metal artists such as Aerosmith, Kiss, Pantera, Van Halen, and some band called Weezer.
I need to look at this list because that's really cool.
Yeah. Let's see.
Bob Rock produced that record, Saint Anger.
I know.
That's a big name producer.
Yep.
He doesn't have a lot of flops on his resume.
No.
Now, what is your opinion of that record?
So I can remember hearing it.
Okay.
I was what year was Saint Anger? That was probably 97? No.
03.
What?
June of 03.
Saint Anger was 03?
That's what this says.
Now I got to remember where I was. Where was I in 2003?
I was here. But I remember
5, 6,
that
7.
a lot of people didn't like it initially. They hated it. They hated it. But I thought this was one of those where time kind of makes our memory a little gentle, and we reminisce that it's not that bad. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm thinking about Death Magnetic.
I love Death Magnetic.
Yeah, that's a pretty good record.
I think I was in between moving from Florida to Michigan in 2003, so I could have been in either one of those places. That is not the one I was thinking of when I was sitting in the mall parking lot, excited that it came out. But I remember hearing Saint Anger, and of course, just like everybody else, it was a snare drum, and I'm like, "What is this? This was not the Lars that I was used to." And I was like, "Oh, it must just be one song," because there was Saint Anger was released, before the actual album was, and then it turned into being the entire album. Wasn't a big fan. I don't reach for this one when I'm getting ready to go mow the yard or whatever. I don't.
Right.
I don't reach for it, but there are some good tracks in it. I like Sweet Amber.
He addressed the drum sound in this article. Bob Rock does, saying that people comment about that sound, but when we went in, I said to them, I can't set up the drums exactly the same way. I can't do that. It's like, why does metal music have to have this certain sound before it's metal? So I kicked the can a bit that way and just said, heck with it, I guess. So it was experimental.
Yeah, he kicked the can and he put it on a drum kit.
Right. Well, and I guess Lars has to go with that, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, the whole band did. I mean, they could have said absolutely not. But again, think of the time though. They just lost Jason.
Right. This is when the first Sin of Rehab we talked about, right?
Yep.
And this is this the one that's documented in the film?
Yes.
Some Kind of Monster. Right, where they're going through all this turmoil.
Yep.
Putting the record out. And you get to see some real good insights into the inner workings of this band and how an album's put out, and whether it's a good one or not.
Yeah.
It has to be fascinating. I have not seen it. I've always wanted to watch it. I just have not got around to it.
You've never watched it?
No, I have not.
Wow, that is your homework for next week.
I guess so.
Yeah, they'll give you 6 days to watch it. I don't know if it's still on there, but it was on Netflix.
Yeah, it was on my list.
Okay. Yeah, you got to watch that. It's when you watch it, you're going to be surprised they're still a band.
Right, and that's kind of where what I was hearing. It's just so much turmoil, and so much arguing and infighting, and Do they talk to Dave Mustaine?
I want to say yes.
because that's fascinating when they always talk to Dave, and he either whines about not being in Metallica or he chuckles because look what Metallica is doing.
Right. And didn't he say something just like last week about their early hits? He wrote them or something like that.
Well, he wrote several on that first record anyway. Even the second record has a couple things from him, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, but why bring it up? What point is to bring it up right now? I just tried to type him in my bar and I named him Daver.
I sent you. Did I send you the article I read where some guy from some band somewhere was talking about how Mustaine is struggling to even play Megadeth stuff, not sing, but he's even struggling to play it.
I don't recall that.
Yeah, I read it. I meant to save it for you, and I brought it up now, and now I'm gonna have to look it up. But
yeah. Now, Jeff Young has called Dave Mustaine a pathological liar, saying that the 80s tour was not canceled because he ran out of heroin. If Pinocchio has a brother,
Stop.
you know what I'm saying.
We can't do any more of this show. I ran out of heroin.
Yeah, we're done. We'll see you
done.
later. I'm joking as the chat, like, okay, bye. No, we have plenty of heroin. Don't go away. No, we don't. Ex-Megadeth guitarist Jeff Young has declared let me try that again. Dave Mustaine a pathological liar for allegedly spreading falsehoods about why the Australian leg of the 1989 So Far So Good So What tour was canceled. Dave Mustaine's claim in 2009 was that Young's dismissal from the band because the guitarist had run out of heroin in Japan and he wanted to go home.
I just want to go home.
I want to take my heroin and go home. But apparently he's a pathological liar, and that's not true. Dave Mustaine. Whatever.
Well,
do I really care about that anymore? No.
I can't find what I was looking for, so forget I even brought it up. But
what up?
Exactly.
Okay, just I wanted to make sure you're still following. I'm trying to see something else. I'm going to go back to Steel Panther. Guitarist Satchel.
Yes, he just said something about something.
Yeah, he said fans are going to have to accept that Pantera will never be the same as the original lineup. No shit.
Well, yeah, we know that.
Yeah. Satchel, I guess, is a supporter of Pantera the way it is now, the way it was before. You know,
okay.
Which why would you not, unless you're just one of those? You consider yourself such a hardcore fan that you could never like them without the original members. Okay, Kiss. Let's start right there. Not the original members.
No.
Let's go to Van Halen every time they change lead singers. Let's go to Metallica. You know, the original guitarist, the original bassist, gone.
I
don't give me that shit.
I don't think you can penalize bands and their legacy when people die.
No.
Okay. So, it's not Phil Anselmo's problem that he has, a guitar player and a drummer that passed, and he still wants to play Pantera music and beat Pantera, or they're not even calling it that exactly. They're trying to skirt that and saying it's kind of a tribute. But I mean, I don't think you can penalize them. It's like you can't blame Brian Johnson for being in AC/DC. When Bon Scott passed and they wanted to move on and get another singer, it's not his fault.
Well, and it's not like they went and got no names to go into Pantera.
Oh, no.
Just like Satchel says, I saw Pantera when they had the original lineup, and it was so ridiculously good that, to be honest with you, it's going to be hard to replicate that. Nobody's looking to replicate that. However, it's never going to be the same like it was. It's never going to be the same like it was. But I do love Zach. I'm a huge Zach Wilde fan, and I'm also a fan of Charlie. How can you not love Charlie and Zach Wilde? Charlie
Benetti.
Yeah, from Anthrax.
Anthrax.
those are the two most badass people to be involved in a band who said, you know what? Yeah, we'll be a part of this and we will do this whole Pantera thing. I mean, come on. It's not like they were replaced with Charlie Daniels and
Well,
Barbara Mandrell.
they were also replaced with two people that revere, that band and revere. They were friends of Dimebag and that kind of thing. So it's not just Joe Schmoes off the street that don't know the legacy of that band.
Yeah, right.
I think anyone. I don't know that anyone has a beef. I haven't heard anyone complain. Really, I've heard the shows have been pretty good, and
There's been a couple of them that I've seen of people bitching and complaining, but I kind of blow them off. It's like, whatever. Who cares?
well, and I'll go again. You mentioned Van Halen. It's not Sammy Hagar's fault that David Lee Roth decided to move on.
Right.
And then you stomp your foot and say, "Well, it'll never be the same. And I don't ever want to hear this music again." It won't be the same, and again, that's not anyone's fault.
Yeah, and you come up with a stupid nickname and call it Van Hagar.
Actually, in Sammy's book, he says that they threw that around as actually calling it that.
They should have.
And or calling it something different. But the problem is you can't fight the record company. The record company wants that brand.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. You can
unless your freaking pancake mix is called Aunt Jemima, then we're taking it off the label.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we can't have Aunt Jemima syrup and all that stuff. Don't get me started on that. It's just as bad as balloons flying over my house.
Right now.
Right? I can't see. There's too much wind and rain.
But, you just, you can't, you may want to call it something else because it is something else.
Well, like Kathy said, we could have also had Van Sharon.
No.
I mean, she's not wrong. She's not wrong.
That sounds like a Renaissance painter.
Yeah, like, hello, what is your name? My name is Van Sharon.
I painted this Sistine Chapel.
Yeah, I painted this guitar for you to look at. I am Van Sharon.
Why did you turn Mexican?
Because I just looked over and I was like, oh, it looks like a Mexican thing. And I don't know. So my accents aren't on point. It's either, yeah, I'm not even, no, I'm going to end up offending somebody. So I'm just going to keep my mouth shut. But it's either Asian or Mexican, French, or Van Charoni. So I can't win.
Right. And back to Metallica. I mean, Mustaine was in that band before they even recorded that record, that first record. So that's something we would never know about.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll never listen to Metallica again because Mustaine was in it or should have been, or, fucked up that band. Pardon my French.
Yeah. And what was the other guy's name? McCovney?
McCovney?
Yeah.
I don't know.
But
people make up all kinds of reasons not to like things, and sometimes you just kind of gotta just go with it and enjoy it. Now, if you have multiple members and multiple problems, I mean, look at bands now. Bands now are far cries from what they were because no one stays around. It's just revolving doors all the time.
No, Ron McGovney was the original bass player for Metallica.
Oh, okay. Yes. I think I saw an interview with him.
Yeah, so he went to Robert Downey Jr. High School.
There is one?
No, it's probably not what it's called, but it's called Downey High School, and I can only remember Robert Downey Jr. So he went to Iron Man High. Yeah. Don't blame them. So whatever. Steve Vai, back in the news. This kind of goes along with some other stuff we've talked about lately, but Steve Vai reveals he has an unreleased record with Ozzy in storage.
Oh, wow.
Yep. We got carried away because we were having a lot of fun. What started as writing sessions for 1995's Osmosis turned into much more. He shared that he wrote a whole album with Ozzy while the duo were working on the 95 collaboration My Little Man. Blah, 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 blah.
Why don't we hear this? Why is it hidden away somewhere?
it was really just to write some songs for Ozzy's record that he would then take to go use for his record, and whoever he was working with on the record would record it. But Ozzy and I got carried away because we were having a lot of fun, and we ended up recording a lot of stuff. And then we started scheming, hey, let's make a new record. All that was fine and good. We got excited about it until the hammer came down. They, I'm sure, which was the label, basically said, what are you doing? No, you've just got to take a song from Vi and finish your record. We've already put too much into it, too much money into it, and Steve Vai is expensive.
Why are you assuming that the Hammer is the record company and not Sharon?
Sharon is the record company.
Ah, okay.
Sharon is everything. So yeah, that might be interesting to hear in 20 years.
Man, that's what I'm talking about. Stuff like that is so cool. I would love for Wolfgang to dig into the vault and find stuff for us to listen to of Van Halen, Van Hagar, Van Sharon. Just because I would love to hear it.
Yeah.
And it keeps that legacy going, obviously.
Exactly. Did you know that Richie Sambora was in discussions to rejoin Bon Jovi?
I did. I saw the article. That has been, I think, in the works for a few weeks now, because I saw another thing where they were in communication, like saying hi to each other kind of thing. So I wonder what is going on there. I wonder what's going on there.
So in a new interview, this article was rotated February 15th. In a new interview, he left in 2013. Wow, I didn't realize he'd been gone for 10 years. We're talking about it. I don't think there's any reason not to at this point. He clarified that a reunion may not be right around the corner, as John was having a hard time with his voice a little bit there, and he needed to take a little bit of a breather. I don't know when he's going to get his voice together and when a Bon Jovi reunion is going to happen, but we have to get out there and do it for the fans. I feel a second obligation. Do it now, because his voice is not going to get any better.
Well, I'm glad they addressed that.
Yeah.
He brought it up, and that's cool. I bet, I'd like to know, but I bet John's probably taking some time to figure some shit out vocally.
Yeah.
And
you know what's better than bringing back your harmony?
Right, your guy that hit all those high notes, and that's what I was wondering. Is something like that he thinks there's going to be some sort of magic on stage that's going to make it all better? Well, I mean, how old's Richie? He's still singing.
83.
Yeah, I mean, no one's getting any younger.
Right, 84.
But
that quick.
Having said that, I do want Richie back, because I think it would be phenomenal, at least with a record even.
Sure.
Write some songs that maybe rock a little.
I don't think John could do it.
These bands get older and older and older, and they put out stuff that's just so, I don't know, sleepy.
Yeah, well, speaking of bands that do not put out sleepy things, Steel Panther's new album drops Friday, the 24th. 13 tracks, 40-some minutes. If you want to know the track listing, Google it, or just rewind to the beginning of this podcast, because we talked about it there. We're going to jump off here because we've been doing this for well over our normal allotted time for ourselves, but we could have kept on going forever. The chat didn't chime in and say, hey. What'd you say?
Again, I'm saying that we got an hour in.
I know. But, we still have a couple minutes because we still have to say the normal things.
Yes.
And that's doing a shout out to Kathy. Music and More Records, for all of your record needs, even when you can't get in to get one after she's already sold out. Kathy, Music and More Records in New York. That's it, right? New York?
Yeah.
I'm going to give a shout out to Natalie for being our moderator, even though she didn't moderate shit tonight. She let the chat just go wild. Ridiculous. She's probably going to get suspended for the next show, but whatever. Of course, Jason, Bad Company Barbecue. Jason has a new, I don't think we call him a sponsor, but he's got someone he is working with that is doing some stuff with him. It was a barbecue whiskey. I use the term whiskey very, very lightly.
I
But
saw.
nonetheless, I think it could be something very good to cook with and do some meat smoking with, not some meat jerking with. Again, that's Jason, Bad Company Barbecue. Check him out on all the social medias. I am TBT. That guy is Ace. We are also on the social medias. We are the Weekly Pour Podcast on Facebook, on the Twitters, on all the other stuff. Whatever. I'm too old to remember. The Snapchat. No, we don't have the Snapchat. Just the Twitters and the Instagrams. That's it. Natalie
Okay.
just said Curveball Whiskey. I am not giving them a shout out because I've yet to try them. But yes, that is it. It is Curveball Whiskey with a K and a U and an R and a V and a ball. Curveball. That's what we've got. You want to hear from us? You want to tell us something that you were afraid to say in a chat? Send us an email, theweeklypourpodcast@gmail.com, theweeklypourpodcast@gmail.com, or go and see us at any of the socials. Leave us a message. Put the shit out there for everybody to see. We ain't scared. Tell us we suck. You know what? So do you. But you know what doesn't suck? New Steel Panther, Friday the 24th. Be sure to get your copy then.